While teaching my lesson yesterday, I was able to get a lot of student engagement from the students because of what I planned to have in my lesson, and I always think it's important to have a lot of student involvement and have them leading rather so much myself doing the work and leading them. I planned for high level student engagement throughout the lesson when they work on their phonic chunks, and the teacher usually just has them has me read through them for them, but I actually had one of the students just flip through the pages and lead the other classmates through it, and so it allowed them to be just completely hands-on and student led by themselves, and I actually did nothing. I just sat there and listened to them. So for me, that was great because I was able to give one of the students the responsibility of leading and the other students listening and following along. So that worked out really great. Some challenges that arose throughout the student engagement were one of the students got a little silly, but I immediately just said, "Oh, Jace, I love the way you're sitting there quietly. Kyla, thank you so much for listening, give me your fullest attention." Just acknowledging those students who were following along and paying attention got that other student to refocus and understand what I expected of them. And then I didn't have to say, directly their name or please focus. It was just I was rewarding those students who were listening and following along, and so then it got their attention as well because they wanted that same recognition. In the lesson, I took some notes. We worked on the Let's Chunk, and I had the students read the book, and then after that we talked about animals from a book that we read the day before, and we had related it to the morning bell work that we do, and we've really been working on synonyms and antonyms, and so we've been working on coming up with really descriptive words, and so this is a really great lesson to mix together with what they've been learning in the morning, tying it to what they're working on in guided reading. So we were able to come up with different words that were synonyms for other words, and we got to really get creative, and it was a little bit silly, but it was fun and they had fun, and that's what's going to get them to learn and to really retain that information. And so to me, that's what's important. When they're having fun and when they're learning, then it makes it all worth it. In the future lessons, I guess what I would change is how I do the chunks at the beginning. Instead of just this little booklet, maybe I could cut out when I have my own classroom, cut out the different chunks, on the table and yell out one of them and have them fly swat it down to get them even more engaged, or have them all out of their seats and they have to do a jumping jack before they say it. Just something to get them energized and excited and yet wanting to learn and wanting to retain the information and apply it. Which they did also when we were spelling out some of the words. I said, "Oh, this is one of our chunks," and we had just been over our chunks. So information like that really intertwines and it gets the students engaged because they just were working on it. So I thought that was a strength. An improvement would be when I'm teaching a group at the back of the classroom for guided reading and other groups are at centers, all those other students come up to me and I really just need to turn in papers, and I really need for them to just stay at their own areas throughout the classroom instead of bringing other papers up to me. So in the future, I'm going to give them each a bucket where they can just put their activity that they were working on in those after they're done with their center, and when they're done, then they can just go back to their desk and work on desk work, get an iPad out, instead of interrupting the group that I have and taking my time away from them. So that's something that I recognize and that I recognize as an area of improvement, but I know that I can change that and it can be a really simple adjustment and it would help out all the students overall. So this is what I came away with from my lesson today. I was getting the students engaged with using really creative words and getting their vocabularies to be exciting and using creative words that really got their attention, and yet we did have fun, but they enjoyed learning, and I think that that was really a strength of the lesson because they remembered it and they're able to apply that to other subjects as well. So that was today's reflection 3 over student engagement.